Okay, thanks so much, Caroline. So I am going to get us started. My name is Elizabeth Milano. I am the Director of Graduate Student Services and Advising. I'm here with Caroline Lynch, Assistant Director of Advising, Amanda Barba, Assistant Director of Advising, and Candace Obratsev, who's the Senior Assistant Director of Enrollment. So I want to just give everyone a second to sort of put a face to a name. So everybody on here has been working with, one of these three advisors, and also potentially with Candace. But if you weren't, you might have been working with Mark. This is Mark up here, Laura, Siobhan Coleman, Tom Hurley. So I think it's just nice to put a face to the name. So I'm just going to pause for a bit and just let you kind of look around. One person in particular I did want to point out that you might not have interacted with yet is Crystal Porter. She is the Vice President of Graduate and Professional Studies. She leads our team. She's been with us since last August and is such an asset, such a great leader. And we've really been enjoying having her at the helm. And then Adrienne Franchosi right here is the Assistant Vice President. So those are our two leaders. And everybody else that you've been working with one-on-one, hopefully you've gotten to see a face too. I just kind of want to give an overview of what we're going to talk about today. And while I'm kind of setting the stage for that, if you could just enter into the chat for us what your name is, where you're from, and what program you're in. That would be really great, because what we're going to do at the very end of the program is we're going to break out into breakout rooms with your advisor. So, so far it's looking like every single advisor has students here, which is great. So we're going to have, 3 breakout rooms going. And then also it would be great in the chat, because then you can see who else is on here, and maybe they're peers from your program that you can get to know. Okay, so I think we're good to go ahead to the next slide. Okay, so we're going to start off by addressing the top 5 questions that people ask us when they start a program, and I'm sure that Candace can attest she gets the same questions. The questions we typically get are, what are the class formats? Because at LaSalle, our class formats are kind of unique. What is my LaSalle? What is self-service? What is Canvas? And what resources are available to me? So the format of the presentation is we're going to go through each one of those questions and break it down and show you some resources that you can use to help yourself as you go through your program. So Candace Obratsev is going to tackle the first question, which is, what are the class formats?
Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's nice to see the names. I recognize a lot of you on the call, so it's nice to see you in person. Well, sometimes see you in person, at least you can see me, so hi. So essentially there are a couple of ways that you can go ahead and earn your degrees depending on your program. Can everyone hear me? Can someone give me a thumbs up? Yes, okay, perfect. So if you hear my son yelling in the background, my apologies on Xbox. I told him to be quiet, but just forewarned. Anyway, so the full semester courses will appear on your transcript or schedule as full main courses, and those are for only some programs. So if you're going for, say, an MBA program or a Master of Science in Human Resources or Master of Science Communication, certain programs, you can go ahead and take classes in an on-campus blended format, also known as hybrid. And the way that those courses run is they would meet every other week over the course of the semester from 6:30 to 9 o'clock at night. So for example, if someone was starting with us in the fall and their first course met on Thursday, September 9th, They would come to meet with their professor and classmates from 6:30 to 9 on Thursday, September 9th, would not come to campus Thursday, September 16th, but would come back to campus Thursday, September 23rd. So it's every other week on campus, and it's complemented with online coursework. Since the vast majority of the students in our program are working professionals, you're never expected to be here during the day. The only program that's a bit different than that is the Master of Education program, because the vast majority of those courses are 8-week on-campus blended classes. There are some education courses towards the end of the program that are span over the entire semester, but those on-campus blended classes, instead of meeting every other week during the 8-week time frame, will meet 3 times. You typically during the first week of class, somewhere in the middle, and then typically the last week. And you're given your scheduled dates well ahead of time so you can plan. If you're going for, whether it be Master Science Criminal Justice, Master Science Sport Management, Nutrition for Human Performance, those programs are online programs only. So the way those courses work is every class is 8 weeks long, and those classes will be held during either session 1 or session 2. So it could be, for example, summer session 1, May 18th, that's when you folks are starting, okay? So it's 8 weeks long, and the way that it works is the courses are broken down into 8 weekly modules, and whether or not someone's taking an online class or an on-campus blended class or hybrid class, everyone has access to their courses a week before they begin in campus. So you can go in, get an idea of what your professor's expectations are, see the syllabus, and just know what's going on, okay? And for existing students only, not for new students, but for existing students, there is a 2-week winter intensive opportunity. The majority of those classes are online, and they might have an offering here and there that is face-to-face, but the vast majority of those are online. So if you have 2 weeks to dedicate, and when I say it's intensive, it really is. It's essentially taking 16 weeks of material and condensing it into 2. You can bang out 3 credits. So for some students that can carve out that time for themselves, it is a really good opportunity. Does anyone, oh, and one thing, regardless if you are, say you're a Master Science Criminal Justice student or a sport management student, a student that everything's online, towards the end of the program, your capstone experience will go in the on-campus blended format on your schedule, but it's not like you ever have to come to campus. But they'll give you the full semester to meet the expectations. Because, for example, say you're doing the capstone internship, that's a 150 hour requirement. And so we want to give students the opportunity to spread that kind of commitment out over 16 weeks instead of just make you do it in 8. We just feel that that's more realistic, frankly, since so many students in our program are working and have very vibrant personal lives outside the classroom. I'll pause here. Does anyone have any questions about the class formats? Okay. Liz, Amanda, or Caroline, do you have any, was that clear, do you think, or do you want to jump in and add something?
That was so helpful, and I didn't even think myself to go into the schedule of, like, you know, if you meet on campus on X date, you don't come back until X other date. That was so helpful. And so one thing I guess to keep in mind then is if you do plan to take more than one main class, just to make sure that your dates do not overlap, and to make sure that the 2 main classes you're taking, you can actually take them together and they don't meet on the same night.
And and one question, just because everyone on this call is a new student, one really important thing to point out is if someone is using financial aid to cover their program, if you take just one course, one 8-week course, you can still use financial aid because that's considered to be half-time. But if you're just using one main course, that's not considered to be half-time because that's spread over the entire 16-week semester. So you'll work with your academic advisor to figure out your scheduling when it comes time for your capstone. Because a lot of our students pay out of pocket as they go, but a lot of our students do use financial aid. So you're just going to want to keep one course to take at the same time as your capstone if you need to use financial aid. Okay.
Thank you so much, Candace.
Of course.
Next slide, Candace will talk about, well, Candace, why am I stepping on your toes? Go ahead.
Sure. So the way that it works at LaSalle is it's essentially a trimester system. So we have summer, fall, spring. Okay. So the summer main, it's really, that's the capstone experience that I was referring to. And the way that the grad program works is, with the exception of the athletic training program, which only starts once a year in July, all of our other programs start 6 times per year. Okay, so we do have some students that are completing the capstone portion of their experience at LaSalle during the summer main session, which goes from May 18th to August 27th. Summer session 1, 8-week classes. They're all online with the exception of the ed class, and that goes from May 18th to July 6th. Then summer session 2 goes from July 7th to August 27th. Students are permitted to take 1 or 2 classes per 8-week term. And other than that, usually the way that it works is there's a very short turnaround between summer 1, summer 2, or fall 1, fall 2, spring 1, or spring 2, but you get a little bit of a break between the semesters. So for example, the fall starts September 9th. So for students that are taking a class, say you're taking one class summer 1 and then another class summer 2, you'll have a few days before the fall starts. And by the way, fall registration is open now. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you speak with your advisors and register for fall, just so you have that done. I'll pause. Does anyone have any questions right now? Okay. Thanks, guys.
And you can ask questions too. I just want to jump in. If you don't want to, say you have a crazy thing going on in the background with your kids, like Candace and I do, if you don't want to ask your question out loud, you can also put them in the chat too. So now I'll pass it over to Caroline Lynch, our Assistant Director of Graduate Student Services and Advising, to talk a little bit about MyLaSalle.
Hello, everybody. I'm Caroline. So MyLaSalle, as you can see, when I was creating this slide in the PowerPoint, I was trying to put arrows to all the things that I thought that you would probably use and that I know I use on a daily basis, and I just came up with the fact that it is a lot, and the arrows were just not working. So what I am going to show everybody now is just very quickly what MyLaSalle looks like. I won't go too in depth. But basically, can everybody see the internet? Fabulous. The most important things fall under this quick links menu. And so you're going to see a link to self-service, email, Office 365. If you have not already, for any reason, logged into your LaSalle email, definitely do so, because the majority of professors, if they're not using Canvas, they are reaching out to your LaSalle email, never the personal one. So you don't want to miss any important communications. You can also get to Canvas, the directory, the library, so to do all your research for classes, and Starfish, which is how you'll go about making an appointment with Amanda, Liz, or myself. Also the Career Center, Academic Achievement if you need tutoring assistance. And then up on top, there are a couple more tabs, as you can see. If you're ever looking for any officer service, that falls under there. Academics, you can find that academic calendar that Candace just gave us a brief overview of. Academic catalog, which has information about policies, procedures, dates, requirements, everything you could possibly need. I like to say, most importantly, a little selfishly, the GPS grad programs page. And so this is all of the internal information that we post, stuff about workshops, about capstone, links to forms, information about the advising team, all exists there. And then there are university resources, so financial aid, parking, and then some student life stuff as well. So let me get us back to the PowerPoint. And so that's my LSL, like I said, super quick overview, but I'm sure I can speak for everybody else when I say I'm in my LSL every single day, probably like 20 to 30 times a day. So I would say just bookmark it on your computer because you definitely will use it throughout your time here. All right, and then self-service was right up at the top there. You've probably used this already to register for your classes. That primarily is what a lot of students use it for. You can also use it to view your academic plan, do something that's called a what if analysis. If you're curious about that, you can talk to your academic advisor. It usually comes into play a little bit down the road. You can view your schedule to make sure you're registered for what you need to be registered for, as well as pay your bill, check financial aid, and see your grades and unofficial transcript. So right now, I'm just going to play a short video about how to view and utilize your academic plan, which a lot of students don't know about, and it is, I would say, probably my favorite tool when advising students. And so I'm just going to open that video up. And make sure I'm sharing my computer sound. And Liz or Amanda, will you just give me a thumbs up when I hit play to let me know the sound's going?
This video is going to show you how to find your academic plan and also how to utilize it. So first, you're going to go to the Registration tab and scroll down to Academic Plan. After you click on Academic Plan, that is going to take you to a page that will have your degree title and concentration at the top of the page. When you get to this page, your core and concentration requirements will all be condensed. You will need to click into everything to open things up. You can either choose to click in the middle of the box, or you can go over to the right side and click on the little drop-down arrows, and this will also open this up. As you can see, it opens up all of the courses that you need to earn your degree, as well as elective options where applicable. This is a great way to see how you are tracking towards your degree completion. There's a really important section towards the bottom called Courses Not Assigned to This Plan. Courses that go here mean these courses are not counting towards your degree. For example, Mary Jo is a comms student and she is registered for a CJ class. That CJ class right now is not going to count toward her degree. She can take it, but she's not going to get credit, and it's not going towards her credits for graduation. For those who are on a timeline or budgeting, this is something to be mindful of. Any class with a magnifying glass is a class that still needs to be taken. By clicking on the magnifying glass, you can see when sections are being offered for semesters for which registration is currently open. You can click through courses to get more information on when they are being offered, who the professor is, and so on. As you click through, you'll see you can choose the semester just by simply clicking on the button. And once you click into that text box, you're going to see all of that additional information, as well as how many seats are left. And so that lets you know if you need to make a decision sooner rather than later. In Mary Jo's case, I know that she needs to take COM 702. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to click the Add button. And so this adds the course to Mary Jo's cart. It's important to note that registering for the class is not complete at this point. This is similar to when you're online shopping and have put items in your cart but have not actually checked out and paid yet. Another symbol that you'll see is the hourglass. This means that a course is either currently in progress or registered for a future session. The check mark means that a class has been successfully completed by obtaining a passing grade. You can also see the grade obtained in the course, if you would like to, down at the bottom of this section. By clicking the information button over to the right, you can see credits completed and remaining, as well as percentage towards your degree. If you are a student who is obtaining a dual degree, multiple concentrations, or a degree and a certificate, you can click on the title at the top and switch between viewing your academic plans to track your progress toward both. If you are just obtaining one degree, you can ignore this piece and you will just use the single academic plan. And this is how to use your academic plan. As always, reach out.
So that just a brief overview. Does anybody have any questions? Like I said, this is something that I use in pretty much every single advising appointment that I have with students. It's a really great tool just to make sure that you're staying on track with your degree. It's also a really easy way to make sure that the classes you register for are ones that you actually need. So I can give everybody a moment for questions if they want to put them in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask. If not, I will hand things over to Amanda, I believe.
So I'm going to do the Canvas section of things. But first, I want to just add to what Caroline was saying. So Caroline did an amazing job of making a whole bunch of really short, brief YouTube tutorials, such as that one. There's also one on how to add and drop classes. There's one on how to use the what if plan. There's many, many more that Caroline, I'm sure, could speak to in the chat if she wanted to, but those are always on MyLaSalle for you. So anytime you want a really quick reminder of how to do something, if you go to MyLaSalle in that graduate program page that Caroline pointed out earlier, those are always there. If you have not had your initial welcome call with Caroline, Amanda, or me, we always go over that stuff too. So if you need an extra reminder, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. I also think that Candace, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a link to that section, the welcome letter too, with the Canvas self-paced tutorial. Okay, so also in the welcome letter that you get from your enrollment counselor when you deposit, there's a link to that page as well. So please refer back to it anytime you need it. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Canvas. So you're kind of familiar with self-service already because you are all in a class, but you might not be as familiar with Canvas. So Canvas is where you go to actually do your class. Every single semester, your class should open in Canvas 1 week before the start date. And it's designed that way because we know you're working professionals, you have a lot going on in your life, and we want to give you an opportunity to get into your class, to look at your syllabus, to make some plans, to get comfortable. If you ever are in a situation where your course is not there 1 week before, please let your advisor know and we will handle that. So, sort of similar to MyLaSalle, Canvas has a lot of tools that we're not going to, for the sake of time, go through all of them one by one. But I wanted to show you what it looks like. So when you go to your Canvas dashboard, you'll see little squares, and every single square is a different class. So it'll say the class title, it sometimes has a little picture, it's a pretty color. So it'll be very clear when you go to your dashboard how to enter into your class. You just click on it. This class that Caroline put a picture of on the screen is the Canvas self-paced tutorial. It's linked in your welcome letter. It's linked on our orientation page on MyLaSalle. This is what that is right here. This is a picture of it. Graduate and professional studies online orientation is the same thing as the self-paced tutorial. They're one and the same. This is basically like a little mock class that you can go through and practice things like, how do I do a discussion post? How do I submit an assignment? How do I see my grades? So you can go through and treat it like an actual class and get really comfortable with it. This is never going to go away. It will be on your dashboard from today until the day you graduate. So anytime that you want to go back and explore this, please do. The other thing that I wanted to just point out really quickly about Canvas is that there is another link to the email right in your Canvas, Office 365, that's your email. So you can check your email from there. And as Caroline mentioned earlier, it's really important to be checking your LaSalle email because that is where all official quote unquote correspondence from LaSalle will go. So anything from financial aid, student accounts, right now, commencement is on Friday. Anything about commencement, the registrar, it all goes to your LaSalle email. What you can do is you can forward your LaSalle email to your personal so that you don't have to be checking multiple things. I wouldn't want to do that. There is a to-do list on the orientation page. We'll show you the link to that later. That walks you through different things to get done before you start classes. And one of them is forwarding your LaSalle email to your personal. The other thing that I kind of wanted to point out on this is in Canvas, you will also see a chat function. I just wanted to make sure you knew the distinction between chat and email. They are not the same. So chat is an easy way to chat with like people in your class, but if it's something official, send a separate LaSalle email. Don't do a chat. Finally, I also wanted to point out that there is a direct link to Starfish in Canvas. Starfish is how you can make free tutoring appointments with our Academic Achievement Center. Again, they are free. And it's not free like, to a certain point or to a certain extent, they're always free. So you get free tutoring. They have tutoring in like specific subject matter. So like, if you need help with, say you're an MBA student, you could get specific content tutoring, or it could be something like time management, organization, something a little broader. And you can make a specific appointment with a tutor for that. It can be recurring. So you can set up maybe like, a session every week. It can be one time. It can basically be as little or as much as you want. And you can do it completely over Zoom if you do not live in the area. So again, I'm not going to go through everything, but I kind of wanted to just show you what Canvas is, what a class looks like, and this resource that's always available to you.
I will say, Liz made a great point talking about Office 365 being available there. One important thing to note is there's something called Inbox, which can be super confusing, but Inbox and your email are completely different things. So the inbox is just within Canvas. If you click on that, so if somebody says it's in your email and you're only checking that inbox, you won't see everything that shows up in your email. So just something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So,
Okay, so I'm gonna, I was just going to introduce you, Amanda. I just wanted to introduce Amanda Barba. Amanda has been with us since February and is doing so awesome. And you guys are going to absolutely love working with her. This is Amanda's first virtual welcome with her. We're so excited to have you, Amanda.
thank you for the intro, Liz.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
I just wanted to kind of go over some resources that are available to you as LaSalle students. As this slide says, I get by with a little help from my friends, and these people and these folks in offices are definitely all here to help you make the most of your time here at LaSalle. So the first one being your friends, family, loved ones, coworkers, peers, teammates, and colleagues. Definitely lean in on those folks and make sure you're communicating with them throughout your time in grad school to ensure that you're completing this at the best way for yourself, and you're getting the support you need in your networks. Your respected faculty teaching your courses, they are there to help you with your coursework and make sure you are understanding the assignments and you feel supported in the classroom, whether it be physically in the classroom or virtually, making sure that you understand what is expected of you. So definitely be in good communication with them. They're there to support you and help you. The industry experts over in the Career Development Center, when it comes time, for an internship, if you choose to do that, or if you're just looking for a job after you graduate, or advancing your current career with your degree or newly earned degree, they're definitely there over in the Career Development Center to help you. You can set up appointments with them, and they can kind of help you get on the right track there. Expert librarians at the Brennan Library, they can help you find proper like different resources for your different papers and assignments. You can search the database. They can kind of help you understand the world over there and making sure you're citing things correctly and all that good stuff. Notably wonderful staff in financial aid and student accounts. You definitely want to make sure you're on top of paying for your classes and you're understanding your financial aid packages. If you're getting financial aid, they're the experts there. So if you ever have any questions about anything finances or money, they're the people to go to. They know what they're talking about, and they can make sure you understand, because I know that can be really confusing sometimes. This has been talked about tonight, but the dedicated staff at the Academic Achievement Center, they are awesome. They're there for free tutoring, like Liz mentioned. So definitely take advantage of that. You know, if you are needing a little extra help in any of your classes, or you just want to make sure you are making the most of all your resources that are available to you as a student. And last but not least, your staff in graduate and professional studies, so both enrollment and advising. That's us tonight on the call, along with our other amazing colleagues who aren't here tonight, but we're here to help you get acclimated to the university, you know, the first few semesters and throughout your time here, and making sure that you feel supported, you feel like you know what classes you need to take, and that you are, you know, we're here to point you to the resources and direct you to different folks on campus to make sure you are successfully completing your degree. So we are all here for you. Yeah, and then the next slide. So how are you going to remember all of this? There's a lot of information that we went through tonight. We want to make sure you remember it all. We will send you the link to this page right here, which is on my LaSalle, like Caroline went through, the graduate new student orientation page. You can refer to this to tutorial videos, see a new student to-do list, get contact info from offices around campus. So we can put that in the chat just momentarily. That's definitely something you want to bookmark to make sure that you are getting access to this information throughout your time here at LaSalle, because we don't expect you to memorize all of this. I just put that in the chat for you all. And then the next slide. So we also definitely want you all to let us know how we did tonight through the survey there, and that's all our contact information, but we will put that survey in the chat as well, and you can fill that out and let us know how we did, and if there's anything else you think we should add to this virtual orientation. But yeah,